Okay, morning everyone. It's 9 o'clock. We're gonna roll. We are now live. I'm just reminding everyone of that situation. Just gonna go through a few ground rules here again. Even though we did it last meeting, we're doing it again. So as long as you're sitting at your confined space here with your spit guards and everything up, you don't need to wear your mask. The minute you leave your seat, you better have your mask on or else. Just telling you. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. And first, we're gonna stand and have a moment of reflection. For those who are able to, it does look like Doug Cam there. Thank you. Okay, now I'll make a disclosure of pecuniary interest at this point in time or any point in time through the meeting. And I need a motion to confirm the agenda of October 15th, 2020. But before I look for a motion, we're going to have one slight addition. And we're adding one item to the closed session with regards to identifiable individual. So, anybody want to make that motion? That would be you. That would be Bob Wilhelm up there. Any comments or questions? Those in favor? That's carried. Moving on, we have consent agenda. We have items 5.1 to 5.9, including the council minutes of our October 1st meeting. Does anyone want to see anything pulled or discussed? Not seeing anything on the screen. I'm not seeing any hands here. Okay. So I have a motion that county council receives the consent agenda items 5.1 to 5.9 and approves the October 1st, 2020 council minutes. Moved by Doug Kellum, second by Hugh McDermott. Those in favor? It's carried. Okay, so we're moving on. We are now in planning services. And we have an official plan amendment application by Morris and Michelle Willis. So we're sure we're having a planner come on.
Yes. Oh.
And we got Louisa?
Yes, correct. Hi. Good morning, Warden and members of County Council. I see Sally McClellan is here as well. My name is Louisa Vicandio. I work for MHBC Planning, who has been retained by the County of Perth to assist in the review of development applications. And as such, I will be presenting this application. I've actually prepared a brief slideshow to sort of illustrate the higher points of this application. I will attempt to screen share that. Let's see here. There we go. Can everyone see it? Is the screen up?
Yep, that's good. Full screen, we're good.
Fantastic. So I mentioned, so this is an application for an official plan amendment, OPA 192, initiated by the landowners, Morris and Michelle Willows. Let's see if I can go to the next page. There we go. So the intent of this official plan amendment application is to request a settlement boundary adjustment in the form of a land swap. This is in accordance with policy 1.1.3.9 of the provincial policy statement. The county, as sort of as a note, the county often receives settlement boundary adjustment requests, and not all of them are necessarily supported. So we recognize that these applicants have taken the responsibility and the initiative to apply for and justify this proposed settlement boundary adjustment for their lands themselves. So in effect, the effect of this official plan amendment, as I had mentioned previously, is a land swap for the Carlingford settlement area boundary. Hopefully it is made clear in this image I have provided. So essentially it would be to remove 0.31 hectares of land from the current settlement area hamlet, the area that is identified in green there, and to be redesignated as agriculture, and to add 0.18 hectares of land that is currently designated as agriculture into the settlement area, that area that is designated as white and outlined. So essentially, this would result in a net gain of 0.13 hectares of agricultural lands to the county. And then, so this is a first step, a first planning application to some future planning applications that the landowners would like to undertake and apply for. So this official plan amendment land swap would facilitate the future proposed severance of a vacant rural residential lot from the subject lands. It is important to clarify that this future severance would not be considered a surplus farm dwelling severance. As I mentioned, this is the first application, and future applications for consent and zoning bylaw amendments would follow, subject to approval of this official plan amendment. In effect, this land swap would result in an adjusted settlement area boundary, which would appropriately reflect the existing conditions and land uses on the site, though not visible in this previous figure here. The land that is currently designated as settlement area in green is not used for development and is currently cultivated in agricultural land. And the land that is currently designated for agriculture was previously developed with a dwelling. So in effect, this official plan amendment would appropriately reflect existing conditions by removing land that is landlocked and undevelopable from the settlement area boundary, and thereby adding lands which have been previously developed and could be developed for residential uses. Through our review of this application from the applicant, we have also been provided additional details and plans from the applicant to illustrate the proposed development of this potential future lot. The plans shown on this slide attempt to illustrate that. So we've got the higher level plan here, which sort of highlights the entire property, and then which zooms into detail of the proposed severed lot. As you can see on the diagram, the severed lot plans for a 20-meter setback, which is consistent with other lots in the other properties in the settlement boundary, and a consistent building envelope consistent with other properties in the settlement area. The potential for a pool, should the future landowner choose to install one, and servicing in the form of a private septic bed and a well. So as I mentioned, the applicant has provided additional information justification in the form of a servicing memo, which justifies the location of this proposed septic system as shown on the plan. In addition, I will note that the proposed lot area for this future severed lot is actually undersized compared to the minimum lot area for the Hamlet Village residential zone. The lot area is approximately 1,835 meters squared, whereas the minimum requirement is 2,000 meters squared. Regardless, it is still consistent with the lot pattern of the surrounding lots. In addition, the frontage of this lot is slightly smaller compared to those of other residential lots in the hamlet. And then as a final slide here, I've got some photos, some aerial imagery just to illustrate the existing conditions. As you can see, the red portion is the area that is proposed to be removed from the settlement boundary and added to agricultural. As you can see, it is not currently developed, and it is cultivated and farmed. And then the green area is the area that is proposed to be removed from agricultural and added to the settlement boundary. As you can see, there has been some previous development on the property. And then this image here just shows a site photo that I took a few weeks back of the property, showing that it is in effect not cultivated and was previously developed. That is a brief summary of this application. I am open to any questions that warden or councillors may have.
Okay. We can go back to, if you could take that off the screen, then I can see my other counselors better.
Yes, absolutely. There we go.
There we go. So now, does anybody have any questions for Louisa with regards to this application? Don't see any on the screen. Don't see any in the room. So we have no questions or comments with regards to this application? Okay, I've got a motion here. I'm going to read it. We'll see where it goes. The Council of the County of Perth received the report entitled County of Perth Official Plan Amendment OPA 192, application by Morris and Michelle Willows, affecting the property legally described as Lot 5, Concession 6, Fullerton Ward, 5178, line 26, Carlingford, Municipality of West Perth, dated October 5th, 2020, prepared by MHBC Planning Consulting Planners on behalf of the County of Perth for information. That the Council of the County of Perth approve the application for the amendment to the County of Perth Official Plan, County OPA 192, submitted by Morris and Michelle Willows for the property described as Lot 5, Concession 6, Fullerton Ward, 5178, line 26, Carlingford, Municipality of West Perth, and that the Council of the County of Perth approve and adopt bylaw number 3775/2020, a bylaw to adopt amendment number 192 to the County of Perth official plan. Do I have a mover? That would be Daryl Herlick and Doug Ike. Any questions? Last chance. Those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Louisa. Thanks, Sally. You were up there once. Okay, we're moving on to corporate services. And we're going to have Corey present the audited consolidated financial statement. And just as a little extra, he's actually going to put the actual statement up on the full screen for your viewing as he goes through it. I used to think that's what we're doing, right?
Somebody's gonna
put it up there.
Yeah.
So I just need that. There's Corey. Okay, Corey, take it away. We can put the financial thing up whenever you want, or maybe it's going up right now. Okay, carry on, Corey. I've lost Corey.
You can see the screen there of my audited financial statements.
Right now, I just see in the report, but. That we all did get. But I don't think it's an actual statement. Tyler?
Corey, what we're gonna do is we'll share the screen and we'll get the financial statements up there in a second. Just bear with us.
I thought I was trying to share my screen here.
Yeah, right now it's currently sharing your report, so we'll get it up.
Oh, here. Then, can you see it now?
Still report.
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
We got it. Thanks, Corey.
Okay. I've got to figure out, I've got a few screens here. I'm just trying to figure out which one I'm sharing. So I'm going to walk us through the financial statements that were presented within the report. Here's the full financial statements here. They were to be attached to the report. Essentially, they were not. So I'm going to walk you through them right now. This essentially is the independent audit report providing a clean audit opinion with the respect to the consolidated financial statements as we do consolidate both the Spruce Lodge and the health unit into our financials. So I'll take you to the statement of financial position. The overall statement of financial position, our net municipal position is just around $105.8 million. You'll notice within the financial assets, our cash and cash equivalents have increased significantly. But you'll also notice that our deferred revenue has increased. In 2019, there was some deferral of capital projects. Receiving of gas tax money and OSIF money have not been spent in 2019. So you'll notice in the deferred revenue that it's increased about $2.5 million. And our overall net assets have increased about $2.5 million. Tangible assets, our net book value is just under $100 million in total assets for the Corporation of the County of Perth. Heading down to the statement of operations. About 37% of our revenue is received through taxation money. Our government transfers amount to about 38%, with the remainder of the being municipal transfers, user fees, and other revenues, to take in about $42 million overall in revenue. We had about $42.2 million in expenses for an overall decrease in our net municipal position of about $154,000. But you'll notice that there's a line here for change in proportionate consolidation. This relates to our actual increased percentage of the overall assets of Spruce Lodge and the health unit. Our percentage increased from 2018 to 2019 from 48.05% to 49.2%. This is the net change in financial assets, which I identified on the previous slide, about $6 million in overall net assets at the end of the year. This overall is our change in cash flow and how we came up to our just under $20 million in cash and cash equivalents for the year. I'm going to slide through these summary of significant accounting policies and bring us down to the overall net municipal position, note 7, which was in the report on how the breakdown of our $105.8 million is made up of. What you'll notice here is that we're seeing a significant change within WSIB, and they actually have an unfunded balance of about $334,000. This is then the provincial grants, other income, to our overall expenditures, again, $42.6 million. In the end, and then here's the change in net proportion consolidation. And the change in our net municipal position for this is about $134,000 overall, between a 1.15% change. That is all I have. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thanks, Corey. So, questions for the numbers man? Any questions on the Zoomers there? They're kind of dark, shady looking on that side. Can barely see them. You got a question?
Yeah, like that'll be sent to us at some point in time.
Yeah, we'll make that sent out.
It'll also be up on the website as well.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, so there's no questions for Corey at all? Can't believe you're gonna get off that easy, Corey. Okay, I have a motion. Perth County Council receives the 2019 audited consolidated financial statements report, and that council approves the consolidated financial statements for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2019, as audited by the firm BDO Canada LLP. Moved by Todd, seconded by Daryl. Last chance for comments or questions. Those in favor? Carried. Moving on. Thanks, Corey. You got nothing else? Corey doesn't have anything else?
Not
Okay.
anymore.
Just checking. So we're moving on. Paramedic services. And we have Mike Adair sitting down in the corner of the room here. Now, I think Mike's met most everyone now. Now that we're in person, have you met you and Doug and Daryl?
In person, we're meeting now.
Oh, there you go.
I've seen him on the screen before.
Who else? Rhonda's already met him, but anyway, you, Doug and Daryl, this is Mike Adair, and he's our new Director of EMS Services.
Nice to formally meet everyone.
Everyone on board?
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Anyway, Mike, take it away.
Sure. So there's a report through the warden. Thank you. There's a report which is for information that went out to council for this meeting, and a couple things just to highlight. The first one was the Ministry of Response Time Performance Plan Annual Review. So this is a housekeeping item I would consider for this year because we're not proposing any changes. And annually we submit our response targets to the Ministry of Health. And if there were any changes, we would bring those to council, but certainly they're not for this year. And you can see as of August the 31st that we're meeting all the targets that have been previously set by council for this year. In terms of COVID, we are continuing to obviously respond during a pandemic. We have noted that in August and looking at the stats after this report was built, these numbers have gone back up, and we're monitoring how often we come across a patient where we rule in the need for wearing enhanced PPE or protective equipment, meaning that that person may is showing symptoms that could reflect the COVID virus, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are testing positive. So we're continuing to monitor that, and we have a goal and objective for keeping about a year supply of pandemic supplies, so that when shortages come through, that we're able to continue functioning normally as a service. And that's where we're at right now, is that in all areas for PPE, we have a year supply. So we're in a good position for that. And we are seeing more calls after this report was authored related to COVID once again. Business continuity plan, we've created a business continuity plan for COVID, for phase 2 of what we're going through. And so that has involved working with some of our system partners, both within the county and also with the lower tiers as well as St. Mary's and Stratford and our partner fire services as well. So that has certainly been helpful. And we'll talk a little bit about the labor relations update during closed council in a little bit. And I'm also pleased to announce that the end of the report that the Medivy Health Foundation believes in supporting local communities, and they are donating, in fact, today $10,000 to the United Way for Perth Huron, and that will be going towards food securities. And so those are some of the highlights of this report. And if you have any questions about any of the things I've discussed or anything else that's within, happy to take those. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Questions for Mike? Doug?
Yeah, through you, Warden Aitchison. So with regards to the flood at the North Perth Hospital, have you seen any changes in the service?
Ultimately, no. So what we ended up doing was for any kind of critical patient, we were not bypassing the hospital. So it wasn't a full close or anything like that. In terms of so we aren't redirecting patients from that hospital in terms of the initial response. In terms of transfers, I'd have to look into that. I'm not sure if we're taking anyone out of that hospital and putting them somewhere else based on their level of capacity. So I could get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Mike? I got a kind of a question or query. You do the mobile integrated health services thing. And I know at one time you were kind of asked to go out and do some COVID testing periodically, or some of the EMSs were. So I had a question asked me yesterday from a health service. So you have some individuals who want to get a flu shot, who don't have access to transportation to get to a clinic at a drugstore or even their family medical providers, and some of them aren't actually, I don't think necessarily even doing it. Some are, some aren't. So the question was, so how are these people supposed to get there? And I says, well, that's a good question. Like I know the St. Mary's and Area Mobility Bus Service is running for medical only. And in the month of September, they got up to about 49% of their normal rides, which is still, you know, not near busy, but most of the stuff we're doing is running strictly to hospitals. But people are inquiring of me as to how they may get flu shots if they have no way to get the flu shot.
So you're through yourself to the warden. Absolutely, we have been continuing to provide COVID testing for persons who may have a disability or are not mobile, and serving that area of the population within the community with public health. And that's an excellent perspective as well with respect to the flu shot. We're in the process of signing an agreement with public health right now so that we can provide flu shots. However, the question that you posed hasn't been answered yet. So that's something that I would like to take back to our public health unit and ask, as they are the overarching overseer of there's the Ontario Health side, and then there's also the public health side. But certainly our relationship with public health is strong, and that's something that we certainly could look into.
It was just a question that was asked of me, and I said, well, I'll bring it up.
Absolutely.
So I did. Now, Rhonda, the mobility bus service in Perth East, is it up and running? I know not all mobility bus services are up and running.
I'm not sure. I haven't heard that it isn't, but
Okay, because like I know the St. Mary's one, which serves Perth South, St. Mary's, Oxford, down into Thames Center, all over the place. We only do medical calls only with pre-screening. There has to be some pre-screening through Easy Ride, but I'm hearing that not all are really up and operational.
And certainly through the warden, I think, the members in this room would mostly be aware that you can also receive a flu shot at at some of the pharmacies, as well as, at your doctor's office. And for those that aren't able to get in, then that would be something that we could look into.
Yeah, just these people need to ride to the pharmacy or the.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, it could still be
It's still kind of a bit of an issue, but I realize using an ambulance or that service would be astronomical and effective cost-wise. But perhaps if the paramedics could do it, that might be cheaper. That's why I'm asking. Because there does seem to be a big demand for flu shots. Okay, any other questions for Mike? Don't see any hands up on the screen. Don't see any hands in the room here. Oh,
I would certainly like to thank Mike and Menevieve for their generous donation to Perth County and United Way, and we certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, Councillor.
thanks, Bob. Yes, I was just going to bring that up when I received the report here, but this afternoon at 2 p.m., we're having a little press release and photo of that, and I will be sending correspondence from the county to the foundation, thanking them for their donation. I think it's very generous of Menevieve to do that. And I also find it great that they're actually putting it towards food, because I think that's could be an issue down the road here. Anyway, I have a motion. Perth County Council receives the paramedic service update report for information. Moved by Bob Wilhelm, seconded by Rhonda Eggets. Last chance for questions. Those in favor? She's carried. Thank you.
Mr. Warden?
Yep.
The Perth East mobility bus is not running
Okay, well, there's.
at all. I I just went on their website.
Thanks, Doug. Now, Walter tells me that the one out of Ritz Lutheran is operating.
I think it's operating. I just messaged clerk to verify it, but I think it's still operating.
Well, I just told by some of the health entities yesterday, I had a mobility bus meeting, and then, of course, you get everybody involved in all the services, and that was one of the questions that came up, said, well, they're not all running. I says, well, that's news to me.
Well, I know we have a minivan that as a second vehicle, and I know they use it for shuttling patients or residents to doctors' appointments or meetings in London if they have to go to London. And so I know it's running.
You've actually got 4 vehicles on the road right now in St. Mary's, but we're only putting 1 person per vehicle. Because you can't put 2, and we're running, we'll make 6, 7, 8 trips to London a day. So it's all medical that we're doing, nothing else. We're not doing shopping trips or anything like that. Yes, hopefully we will at some point in time. Okay, thank you. Now we're moving on to council reports. And we have bylaws. And I have a bylaw here that, or a motion that bylaw 3775, 2020 being a bylaw to adopt amendment number 192 to the County of Perth official plan is read a first, second, and third time and finally passed October 15, 2020. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Doug Ike. Did I see your hand go up there, Doug? Any comments or questions? Those in favor? It's carried. Notice of motion. Other business. Does anyone have anything they want to bring up in other business? Not seeing a whole lot. I've got a couple little items I'm going to bring up. So as you notice, I sent out another thing via our staff saying we're going to address business casual again. And I realize our bylaws don't actually dictate that. But I'm finding that a lot of people would rather do business casual because when they go home, they drop their clothes in the laundry and they go straight in the laundry. It's kind of hard to wash a suit. So that's why I'm continuing with that practice. If anybody has any complaints or questions or problems with that, now's your time to say. But I'm bringing it up right now because here's your chance to either tell me I'm wrong or whatever. Well, I don't see any hands, so it will continue to be business casual until you get further notice. That way I don't have to keep sending one out for every meeting. Okay. Announcements. No announcements? I'm just going to give a reminder then. There is a transportation meeting on Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
I think so.
That's just a reminder.
Yep.
And I don't think there's anything else coming up specifically right away for county. No one in the lower tiers have any announcements to make? Okay, so we now will move into closed session meeting. So I need a motion to go into closed session. Moved by Bob Wilhelm, second by Todd. Those in favor? It's carried. So we're going to need a couple of minutes to change things around here so we can go into closed session. Before, I'm just waiting for the motions to approve from the closed session. There is one thing in announcements I did forget. So traditionally, your first meeting of November, councillors will declare their intent if they wish to stand as warden. So I'm just reminding everybody of that.
When's that, Jim?
The first meeting in November. And just so you know, I'm declaring my intent to run again. Bob Wilhelm.
Just a comment and an observation. As first, I've been on Zoom because last meeting I attended in person. And I'll be perfectly blunt. The audio is very good. The video, I'm embarrassed as a county councillor. That's what we're putting out. We need to do something. I see black tables and I can't even make out the people at the end of the tables. Jim, you're not even in the picture. We need to improve the video as county council.
I'll be honest with you, Bob. Every meeting we've done so far, I have had no problem seeing the screen or reading the faces or whatever. Today, most times you guys all look like you're sitting in a dark room.
It's the lighting.
I'm not sure if it's the light in front of the screen or what, but like I struggled with a couple times you've had your hands up there and I'm like, I think his hand's up, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
we'll work on that.
We'll work on it.
Mr. Warden, if you have the opportunity, maybe you should look at what's presented live. And I think you as a warden would be embarrassed to say this is the best we can do.
I may try to get a chance to look at that, Bob. I'm going to be honest with you. She's been kind of hectic.
We'll take a look.
We'll take a look. We'll see what we can do.
This is temporary.
Well, it's temporary, but it's going to be temporary for a while.
We want to do that.
It's not going to lie.
So I'm ready.
Yep, I'm ready.
So through the warden, the first reporting out of in camera, we'd like a resolution from county council to endorse the collective agreement with the Teamsters and authorize the signing of the agreement.
Do I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by you, second by Bob Wilhelm. Those in favor? Carried. Second one.
Thank you. I would like to request county council to provide direction to staff to update the respect to the workplace policy.
Moved by Todd, second by Doug Ike. Those in favor? It's carried.
Thank you. Through the warden, I'd like to request county council provide direction to staff to update the salary administration policy.
Moved by Bob Wilhelm, second by Hugh McDermott. Those in favor? It's carried.
Thank you. Through the warden, I'd request county council provide a resolution that we can send to the Huron Perth Public Health to provide consent to the lease space as requested in their correspondence in Listowel.
Moved by Doug Kellum, second by Todd Kazenberg. Those in favor? It's carried.
Thank you. Through the warden, the last reporting out is with regard to appointments. And this would be to the Standing Committee on Affordable and Attainable Housing. And the resolution would be that Perth County Council would make the following appointments. 4 citizen appointments: Matthew Ray, Karush Mahush, hope I got that right, Alyssa Bridge and Tim Beard. And 2 institutional members, United Way for Ryan Erb and Habitat for Humanity Brian Elliott, and that the committee be reviewed, report back in a year for review and discussion on going forward.
Moved by Walter, second by you, or Todd or Bob or Doug. All 3 of them had their hand up at the same time.
You.
Okay, those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
That carries all the resolutions out of
That's
full session.
all 5.
Perfect. So now we have a confirmed, nobody has come up with any late announcements. Last chance, Rhonda?
Daryl inquired with Teresa about our mobility bus. Can you,
Yeah, it is actually running. It's just reduced hours with Noel Crest, the mobility bus.
Okay.
She called and confirmed.
so it is going.
Okay. And we'll deal with that stuff I talked with Mike about. We'll get a report back or some sort of information.
Yeah.
Okay, confirmatory bylaw. That bylaw number 3776-2020 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council of the corporation of the county of Perth at its regular meeting held October 15th, 2020 is read a first, second, and third time and finally passed October 15th, 2020. Moved by Rhonda, second by Daryl. Those in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn a meeting at 10:46. Moved by you, second by Bob Wilhelm. Those in favor? It's carried. Thank you very much.